Guys, and welcome to the final episode, or well, final video I will do on Nomi. In this case, it's a base tour. Uh, though you've probably seen it already with me running around on the streams. But anyway, this building over here, which if you look at its outside, I tried to be generic Samsa clone build. Not my favorite building, but just where it all started. Our cobbleworks has been the same, with only the things needing upgrading. Same with sulfuric acid. Everything here has stayed the same, with the only difference being, of course, the actual machine tiers. The sugarcane, I don't think has ever moved since we moved over here. And then, of course, we put our mills and stuff as we needed greater power. Though with the dragon egg mill, uh, there's no worries about that. These things, which are some steam, some substrates, manganese phosphide never hurts. Oh yeah, these substrates, which are used for good circuit boards, are only ever used pretty much for like MV circuits, and I guess these, but yeah, no, these aren't a circuit board you really want to stay using. And of course, some extra phenol, a crate of ores, more random stuff, and yet even more random stuff. This fun fact, this actually used to be where our AE, like our main AE2 area was. And we had all the power generation with some steam dynamos and whatnot, but yeah, kind of grew out of there pretty fast. Here I always had on-demand machines. I think first they were stacked vertically, like I'd have them here, and then I'd have like a crate or something next to them. Oops. Did not mean that. But anyway, yeah, I tore down stuff like bending machines, lathes, and whatnot. And I just left our phytogenic insulator here because I needed coarse flowers for a whole lot of dislocators. Mainly for item dislocators and also advanced dislocators for warp engines. Over here, I had a bunch of just normal macerators making us dusts that I would use. Like, for example, ender pearl dust, I use it for vibrant. Wood pulp, I think I'm using for appetite. Yeah, I'm using it for, or no, I'm using it for phytogrow. And every other thing here has its own use. Here are the three dusts I actually passived, being stainless, vibrant, and energetic. Over here I had just quite literally random machines. So here I had my fluid crafting stuff for stuff like ingots and plates for like PBI or polyphenylene sulfide or whatever. And then here I just had the tin, which of course I always used in my circuit assembler. Why? I don't know, I just never made soldering. Back here we have some snowballs, but could have torn this down ages ago, to be honest. Here we have crafters, which this top one making TBU, Phyto Grow, the thermal dusts, nether stars, gas tiers, and sugar. Yeah, by the way, if you're playing Nomi, use this recipe. It's gonna save you a lot of resources and it's way better a recipe than this. Because Hellish Matter, you're gonna get a load from your models in general. Sugar, you're probably gonna have a sugarcane farm with the snad. Just use that. And then spider eyes, you get 8 per pristine spider. It's just better. And then we have the trusty multi smelter, which hold up, I think does like 120 odd items at IV with tungsten. Yeah, it does 128 and it like 2 ticks them. I think that's enough this side over here, uh, from here to here used to be where all our extruders were. But now this is being made for biomass and biochaff, and over here is being made for mincemeat. Over here are our alloy smelters, which could have been LUV or something. And yes, we need that many because unfortunately there isn't a alloy smelter multi-block. Here we have some basic alloys passive like electrum, steel, copper nickel, dark steel, and red alloy. And then here, this one I have for fused quartz. Here I had an LCR for what exactly? Oh, for sulfuric acid, yeah. Using the hydrogen sulfide we get from the nether, I think. Yeah. Though this used to be where our assemblers were and where our first ever HV line was. Over here we have pulsating polymer clay, which is, it's going. With this thing being quite the lag monster. Here we also produce glass and also quartz, which I think we're finally catching up on. Yeah, it's going up. And here we can see a bunch of random machines and stuff. And I think that's enough for this building. I mean, and of course, if you look below, we have our cables, which they're not completely straight because I wanted to use fluix rather than conduits, but whatever. Here we got our solar panels, as y'all can tell. If we go over here, we're feeding all of these solar panels into this capacitor bank, and that capacitor bank, using its 3 million outputs, puts it into the P2P, which is connected up to our energy ball. For our clean room, I kind of wanted to have these little like air vents, you know, have this middle part be like a sterile environment. And then you just need it to go again. I used to have a door here for when my clean room used to be, I think it was 7 by 7 by 7. But now that it's this big, I didn't really find where to put it. So now the only way to get in here is with a travel anchor. And here we have stuff like lapis being automatically made because I have no other use for lapis dust. Same with quartz, with nether quartz dust. These two are my on-demand chemical reactors, mainly for circuit boards, and then stuff like laser arrays and qubits. And this top one is specifically for HPICs and UHPICs, which take a while. No, they're both running. Though this top one's running at ZPM, so it doesn't take as long. These three machines are doing the whole raw crystal chip stuff. Because you use for engraved chips and crystal CPUs and blah 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 blah. The things. Here we have a UV circuit assembler, which took a while to make. Here's a chemical reactor for nanos. And then back when we used to passive wafers, here's the drawers where we store them. Now I just do everything on demand, and I think I even have, what's its face? I think even I have CPUs on crafting card. Yes, I know, crafting cards. You're gonna kill me. Yeah, there we go. Crafting card and then CPU wafer. Let's head over to DML. Honestly, not my proudest looking building, though it is one of the biggest I've made. Here we have our wall of stuff, really. No other way to put it. And back here, we just have some interfaces with some conveyor modules and a whole lot of filters and things. For conduits, I couldn't do much regarding power and taking the items out, so yes, we're using this. We're using those for them. But honestly, it's not too much a hassle. For these simulation chambers and whatnot, I kind of wanted to go with that like each set of 10, or well, 20 if I used like this bottom part, was kind of like its own supercomputer or something. But I never really figured out a proper design for them, so they kind of were just left that way. Yeah, I think with the, not even with the Enderman or Shulker one did I like ever give it a proper finished design. So yeah, and they each have their individual loot fabricators. Here, I think you probably saw it in the space episode, which I think was like 20 or something. But yeah, we went to space, and I never used this platform again. That's I can't say much about it. Our EBFs, I mean, it's a haul of them. Per side, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You have 10 EBFs plus an ABS per side. And in the back, we have some vacuum freezers. And then these two ones and these two ones are pretty much just for when I need something done quick, because they're at UV and at titanium, so they get hella overclock and they go fast. I'm surprised these never got like maintenance problems, these vibrant and energetic ones. I don't think I ever had to tape them up. That thing has just kind of been sitting there. Our big ol' ME drive, which I probably could have put on red due to how much stuff we have in here. Obviously, this is where our 82 stuff is, and since we were using RFP2P, it requires quite the amount of energy cells to handle. Here's our main drives. I had them originally just 21Ks, but then I moved them all to 16Ks, and then for stuff like extra diamonds and stuff, I just went and made a 64K because it was easy. These ones on the sides are simply for fluids, since they're better and probably cheaper than quantum tanks. Here are our 6 CPUs that carried us through the whole game. I wanted to make more, but never really needed more than 6. Down here we have what would be our crystal growth chamber, as well as our inscribers, which used to be in a multi-block called the Inscriber Factory, which we made and whatnot. It doesn't really take long, but in order to like properly get it that fast, you'd need to run it at like UV or something. Yeah, I don't know. It's just dumb. So I just went back to using these guys. Here we have 3 molecular assembler and interface towers, which is where most of our auto crafting happened. And then, as you can see at the top, I tried to make it look like a controller, but I don't know if I failed or passed, to be honest. Here we have our original tree farm, specifically made for growing rubber. Since I didn't think we'd need that much. Plot twist, we didn't. Actually, we did, because we were trying to use rubber wood for like every pyrolytes we had. But eventually I switched to having spruce be in the void, and then eventually canola for empowered oil, so I can make glycerol and biodiesel easier. Right here, we're just crafting the, what's his face, the sticks and whatnot, to create these stone tools, which we're sending into ender chests that supply the farmer, or the farming station. Over here is where is the final like area we built, I guess, which, as you can see, was mainly for just assembly lines, the large microverse projectors, kind of random multi-blocks, fusion, the sterile clean room for sterilized growth medium. And that's pretty much it. Yeah. Over here we have some chem lines. We have all of this being a PBI, or polybenzimidazole. These two were working on sulfuric acid using the one-step recipe provided on LCRs, which is just sulfur plus water. These guys are doing uraninites, I think. Yeah, where if you chemical react it with these things, you get hexafluoride, centrifuge it, and then you can get 238 or 235. 238 of which is actually the more, I'm gonna say the more expensive one, but it's the more sought after one. Because 238 is used for 235, which that sets you on the thing for plutonium and whatnot, which you do need for the late game. These ones in the front, I don't really remember. So, styrene. Oh, okay. So yeah. So these are styrene butadiene rubber, which has 0 uses, except for the assembly line, and even then, it's only the conveyors. So yeah, it's kind of cringe, but whatever. Here, I think we automated the reconstructor like like LUV. Because before then, you don't really need a lot of pallets or like diamantine or whatnot. Yeah, but once you get into Draconic, you start needing a lot of empowered pallets and powered Restonia. So, you kind of had to make it. Over here, we have rhodochrosite, which we used not many times. But it also gave us redstone as a byproduct, so, can't be all terrible. I don't remember what this was. Nitric acid. Oh, this one gave us. We used this one to transfer dense ores into their normal form. Because if you go to dense diamond, if you mix it with nitric acid, you get 16 diamond ore. And then of course you pulverize and you do the whole thing. Over this was for TNT, since it was kind of bottlenecking the LCR when I was making it on demand. Back here we have Neckline, which starts with antimony trioxide, then to trifluoride, a fluoroantimonic, and then you get the impure naquadria and enriched naquada things, which then are over here. And they go through this entire line being obviously giving you naquadria and enriched naquada. The latter of which I have 0 uses. I have found 0 uses for. Here's where we mix everything, we crush things. I think we were using this for solidification. Yeah. This is obviously the arc smelter. We use it for stuff like annealed copper. Implosion compressor. Honestly, I don't know how this is supposed to work or why it's quote-unquote electric when it still needs TNT. Then we have our autoclave and our extracting machine. Ore processing. Well, first of all, here we have epoxy, still being stored in this stainless steel drum. Here we have a large electromagnet, which works as a polarizer for magnetic anything, really. Here we have our extruder, which is has an amount of interfaces on it. Here we have our bending machine and the wire factory, which ever since they added the multiple circuits for the wire mill has been a lifesaver. Over here in the back, I have the first 3 tiers of microverse projectors. This being for T1s, Tier 2s, and Tier 3s. Behind that, we have liquid air distillation. And then up here in the back, we have liquid oxygen, which is used for boosting things like the combustion engines, or if you can see in the tooltip, supply with 80 liters per second of liquid oxygen to produce blah, 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 blah. I switched away from using combustion engines, so I never got a use out of it, so whatever. Helium, though, is used to cool down like higher tier ingots, so I did need it. And I was running out of it simply having what's face storage bus on the output hash, so I put it on the super tank, and it seems to be fine. All of these machines are flatline, where we give it any one of these, and it gives us platinum group sludge. We centrifuge it for all of this. The palladium salt goes to this chemical reactor, which we're feeding with hydrochloric acid, and then the raw palladium powder gives us palladium dust and ammonium chloride. Here, I'm just giving it the raw platinum powder, which we can electrolyze, into normal platinum. This back one is used for rhodium and no, not rhenium. Let's see. Rhodium and ruthenium, that's what you get out of this one. And they each go through either an electrolyzer or get sent to this other one. And here in the back, we supply rarest metal mixture, which is what gets us our iridium and acidic osmium. And osmium, it's a fucking annoying thing. Because let's see, you get 2k, you still 2k, you get 5, and then, oh, well, that's actually not bad. I thought it was worse. It is a hydrogen sink, though, since, like, every step requires some hydrogen. Alright, now for actual ore processing. Alright, so this triple gray ender chest is for our miner output, which then gets buffered in the stainless steel crate, so this never fills, into an interface, which is held by these 664Ks. We have an amount of stuff, but anyway, most raw ores will go into this macerator, and then from then it's either chem bath or this ore washer, which is it's cooking. I don't know what it's cooking, but it's cooking. Anyway, its outputs get sent onto this blue network, which using the storage bus we can send the tiny piles else to the red network, and trash carbon and stone dust here. This will hold obviously output dust as well as purified ores, which either get sent here to the macerator. I don't know. I guess we just have a perpetually working thing. Yeah, but anyway, it either sends those ores into the thermal centrifuge or the macerator. And then over here I have a system with a bunch of filters where if it's pure dust, it'll get sent over here with us trashing any form of carbon. And if it's not a pure dust, it'll get sent down to the black network, which is our final network, where, as you can see by the amount of full 64Ks, is where all our final products go. But yeah, if it's pure, it'll go into this centrifuge, and any type of small piles which we receive from the blue network over here gets sent to this large packaging machine, which is only running at HV, but at HV it's already a 1 tick, so. Of course, we have some extra input buses over here, just in case there are centrifugal dusts coming out here. From the blue network, we can also get stuff like purified sapphire, lapis, diamond, emerald, apatite, anything siftable, and then it gets sent to the black network, which is why if we come over here, you can see that it has some like purified piles of stuff. And of course, anything on the black network that needs electrolyzing, we just send it through here, and it works just fine. With a whole lot of output hatches, just in case something ever fills. Over here, we have our tier 4, 5, and 6 microminer missions, which are right up against the wall, but thankfully we can put the muffler literally anywhere. So yeah, we just have it here. And down here is where our original numismatics were. Here we had like large gas turbines and whatnot, and then our original capacitor bank. And here we also have some extra solar panels, to put it one way. We almost have two full 7x7 layers of solars, just kind of producing us power. Right, but anyway, final building before these. Actually, no, we still have nuclear. Alright, so anyway, here's where like pretty much everything passive is. Here we have some furnaces that are cooking fish to make us methane, which becomes hydrogen. Here we're making fluxed phytogrow. Here we're making distilled water. Here is ethylene, then polyethylene, and then polyvinyl chloride. We're solidifying it. Here we're making salt water, and then centrifuging or electrolyzing it. This is titanium tetrachloride. And then here we're just packaging lithium and potassium dusts. Here we're making advanced circuit boards. Here we're just solidifying epoxy resin sheets. This is polyphenylene sulfide. This is cetane boosted diesel. This is fish oil. Here we're making Petri dishes for the circuit boards. Here we're making tiny piles of sodium. Here we have good plastic circuit boards. Here is polytetrafluoroethylene with hydrofluoric luminescence. Oops, didn't mean that. Here we're making rocket fuel. Here I think we're making methanol. Yeah, methanol, acetone, ethanol, blah, blah, a whole bunch of stuff. And this is making the wood vinegar. Here we're solidifying a bunch of stuff. Rock breakers for black granite, of course. Then out of that black granite, we get black granite dust and thorium, which eventually electrolyzes into fluorine. Here we've got a silicon rubber. Here we're making copper foils for the circuit boards and whatnot. Here we're making gold foil for epoxy circuit boards, as well as electrum foil for the actual circuit boards. And this is some simple ender air distillation, not liquid ender air. There is a difference. Yeah, liquid ender air gives you a bunch of stuff. Normal ender air gives you nitrogen dioxide and pure deuterium, which is what we have over here. Here we have red coal, carbon dust, which is why I'm trashing it everywhere else. Sodium, potassium, ruby, chrome, ruby, chrome, mercury, and it's just redstone centrifuge. Here we have where I make charge surface quartz, where I make gears, and where I make mana infused plates, since I can just use my LUV bending machine, and it's a lot faster. Here's where I produce prepared thorium for TBU. It never kept up, by the way. Second floor is where a lot of these were just fluids for fusion. So they have no real use other than being thrown into a fusion reactor. Here we're making supplementary quartz, all at Ivy, its own like little system. Here we have radon, obsidian, and I think these were on demand for quantum stars. Here we're making quantum eyes, carbon fibers, energized and destabilized rosestone glowstone. Here we're making our tungsten. This one's for hydrochloric acid, I think, should we ever get to below point. Though we're at 52 million buckets, or well, 52 million millibuckets. Here we're processing ilmenite. Here's where we produce thermal dusts. Here we produce nitration mixture, nitrobenzene, 238. Primal mana, the fluid. Then we make the clathrates. Here we make polyvinyl butyrol, which is used for laminated glass. And that's literally it. Liquid XP, snowballs. Here's where we've using this system in the back. It's how we make. I have a bunch of fluid regulators that will only ever send 144 millibuckets of stuff into P2Ps that are connected to this fluid solidifier, which in turn solidify the ingot and then send it into the interface. With this interface, I'm just solidifying the fluid XP to all the soul binders should they have a recipe. Slices and splices are smart enough to like pull like one slot at like one recipe at a time, I think. So this recipe has worked. Here is nitric acid using 2 separate recipes. Or here I think I make benzene, yeah, and stuff like toluene, which I put in a quantum tank of all things. Yeah, as you can see, I was quite desperate for what am I making here? For wood tar. Yeah. Let's see. Here we have empowered oil, nitrogen dioxide, even though I already had it from Ender Air. Uh, Fluid cryothium. Oxygen using glass. Ammonia. Lava. More fluids. Here I used to solidify stuff, but I just went and got the multi-block. Here we make tetranitromethane for cetane boosted. And here we make indium, which Jesus Christ will eat through your sulfuric acid. Because it only makes a small pile. So you need 16 buckets to get 1 indium. And I was buffering 20 stacks of it. And then here we have aqua regio. Or regio, I don't know. Alright, fusion. Or well, nuclear specifically. Here we have our 2 E-bins. They're called that because of the guy that made the design, apparently. I have 2 of them. Each of them produce 2 million RF per tick, I think, maybe. Let me check. Yeah, 2.3 million. Here we have fuel recycling using those 4 centrifuges. Here we have actual crafting of stuff. With a whole bunch of conduits in the back. Level emitters for when we need it. Yeah, 216Ks worth of stuff, but yeah. Here in the back was our macerator for black granite, as well as our 2 cryolattices, which exist solely to burn fuel to get byproducts. As you can see here, we have our nuclear craft stuff. And if we go up, here we have our fusion reactors, which this one is probably making duranium. This top one, I had to make a second one exclusively for helium plasma for these guys, which surprisingly the rotor still hasn't broken, but yeah. Then we have our second fusion, which handles tritanium and geranium as well, since geranium is slow. And then for our Mark III, which took, oh, it was expensive, just know that. We use for neutronium and einsteinium. And I think that just leaves the middle part, where this has been our base operations, not since I built it, but for a while. Here we have our creative tank. And if we wanted to, we can craft some more. And so we want some creative tanks. We could just do that. Did it eat the paper up? It did not eat the paper up. Now we can request a tank. And it'll just do its thing, giving us extra creative tanks. Let's see what else. Here we have a battery buffer to charge your stuff. Here we have the dragon egg mill, my bed, the moon dislocator. Here we have our extended crafting tables, which we didn't really use after we got a packaged auto. All our terminals are on the ground with some controllers, the encoder, and a travel anchor. And if you go down here, here's where all the mess is. Jesus. Yeah, now looking at this was a mess and a half. Yeah, so here we have the Elite package crafters. Here we have Ultimate. Here we have some combinations. And we just had a pair of Advanced. This is used for bone meal for our farms. This is used for diamonds to power numismatics. All of these phantom faces are for energy inputs, these three at least. Uh, these give power at... These two are extracting power and giving it to our AE network. This one's just Celestial Manipulator. These two are for the combination crafters. Yeah, no, it's kind of just a mess down here. But yeah, this is the base that got us a tank in Nomifactory. Alright, see you next time.